Hi parents, let's talk about some cues that you can use at home if your child is working on R sound. So in therapy we spent a lot of time teaching about how to make a good R, an on-target R. So number one is to make your child responsible for their sound productions and making them self-aware of their errors. So like I sent home in the newsletter this past month in November, I spent a lot of time teaching your child what an on-target versus a on-target or off-target sound is. They know how to recognize that and they understand that verbiage. So if you hear your child make an error, one of the things especially that I do in the session is if they say, for example, the word teacher, right? They might say teacho. And so if they say, yeah, my teacho, and I say, your teacho, kind of like confused, right? And repeat what they're saying, and then they might immediately self-correct and say, no, not my teacho, my teacher, right? Some children might not self-correct immediately, and so what I'll need to do is remind them, I'm hearing teacho, that's what you're saying, so we need to change our mouth to make an on-target R. And then I remind them, what do you need to change? What are the 4 components of a good R? Number 1 is a smile. Number 2 is slightly open teeth. Number 3 is put that tongue up and back. Curl it. And then the 4th one is tighten up. Tighten your tongue. And then I have them do it. Teacher. Right? And if your student just keeps making the wrong error, if your child just keeps saying pronouncing it the wrong way, we don't want negative practice. Not practicing a certain word that's giving your child difficulty is better than continuing to practice it and having them do it wrong over and over and over and over and over, because our tongue is a muscle, it does remember, and there is such a thing as muscle memory. So we want to enforce and reinforce those positive practice. So that means words that your child can produce with maybe a little cueing or can do it independently, bump it up. If they can do the words, put them into sentences, right? We want positive practice and not negative practice, reinforcing behaviors that are habits that then are going to be harder to break. So it's better if you find out, and typically I won't send home a word list if it's not words that your child can already produce in therapy. So this is something that you can do. These cues are things that you can use in conversation. You can use them when you're playing board games. You can use them when you're reading a book and point out words that contain R. You can use them when you're working on word lists that I've sent home. Pretty much anything that you are working on or talking about, you can point out these errors and use those as opportunities to practice your child's target sound. So cues are, is that on target or off? What do you need to change in your mouth to make an on-target R? And then if they need the reminders of what the 4 components of a good R is, number 1, smile. Number 2, open teeth. Number 3, curl your tongue up and back. And then number 4, tighten it up. And I use the analogy of John Cena. He kind of like tightens up his opponent in the same way our tongue has to tighten up, right? And so they know that verbiage and they understand what that means. I hope that helps. And until next time, happy holidays.